Okay, so there's just some I want to speak about and put my opinions forward on because I find the full experience, the full situation very interesting. And that is the Trump, Donald Trump assassination attempt, because that to me is what it is. It was an assassination attempt on the president. Now, this video is about different theories I've heard on what happened, on the shooting. So I'll just get straight to it. Like I said, there's been different theories. One of which is Trump staged this full thing to help his presidential campaign. You know, to help him get votes, to make him look like a hero. You know, you see that picture, which will probably go down in history, to be honest, as some people would call iconic photo, where I can't remember exactly, he's got his fist pumped in the air, and he's screaming fight, and they've got an American flag in the background. He's got a security around him. It's a very powerful picture for sure. So I've heard that theory that this has all been staged by Trump to help his presidential campaign. There's also another theory that the government deliberately ignored the shooter, being Matthew Thomas Crooks, I believe his name is, because they want Trump dead. That's a theory that I've heard. I mean, on that theory, right, I can understand it because it would explain why a lot of things were let to slide, were allowed to happen. But I'll get to that. I'm just touching on the different theories I've heard. So, yeah, that's the theory I've heard, that the government, yeah, I guess set up. I guess they knew that this guy, the shooter, what he was planning, they allowed it to happen, and it was just by luck, that, or unluck in their case, if it is true, that the shooter didn't get Trump, he didn't kill him. So that's another theory I've heard. And another one is, and I'll be honest with you, this is what I believe, and that's that it was just quite simply an assassination attempt, which had many issues and flaws in terms of security and the mistakes they made. But that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Just a failed assassination attempt. But what I find so interesting is those other theories, some might laugh at them, some might find them ridiculous, but there is reasons to believe them, and they are plausible when you look at the evidence and what happened. So that's what I'm going to do in this video, and I would like people's comments, because I find it a very interesting subject. So let's get into it. And by the way, before I go any further, the photograph, or the picture, whatever you want to call it, that I was referencing to, the one that a lot of people are calling iconic already, of Trump clenching his fist, and he's got his bodyguards, his security team around him, with the American flag behind him. That is the picture that I'm going to use for the thumbnail of this video. So in case you don't know what I'm talking about, that's what it is. So anyway, yeah, I'm just going to get straight into these theories and the certainly the points and arguments for them that I've heard. There might be a lot more out there. I'm sure there is, to be honest. But this is a developing case in a lot of ways, and that there's going to be conspiracy theories, new ones, new arguments all the time. I mean, look at JFK. He died, I don't even know how many years ago, before I was born anyway. And there's still theories, conspiracy theories, and ideas on what really happened there. So this is something that will never go away. Not just the Donald Trump one, many others, you know. I could start and not finish that list from here to next year. So what I'm getting at, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there on a lot of different things, and it'll always be a thing, because there's reason to a lot of them. There's evidence, and for me, above all, I certainly don't believe everything the government tells us. That goes for the government in the UK, Scotland, where I am, or in America, any country, any continent, because they've been proven to lie to us numerous times. So I'm just saying I understand conspiracy theories. So anyway, I'll just get into it. So, the first theory, that Trump staged the whole thing to help his campaign for the presidential election, which I believe it's on November 5th. So a few months away. But you know, before that they do a campaign, don't they, to win votes. So that's the theory, that it was all staged to help Donald Trump's campaign. Now, I get that, okay? I do get it, because stranger things have happened. I guess because I can understand it, number one, because of the timing, like I said, because of the presidential election campaign. Because looking at that, right, certainly from my point of view, watching the video, seeing what happened, and how Trump reacted to it did look, I don't know how you put it into words really, it just, it said a lot about him, I think. You know, let's just assume that was all real, because I believe that, by the way. But even if you don't, just go with that. So, I mean, to get up and to shout, fight, 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 with his clenched fist, bloody ear, that's a man that you want to be running your country. Forget everything else, you know, about things he's said and done. I'm just saying, from somebody's point of view that maybe doesn't know much about him, you'd think, yeah, this guy's a very strong, motivational character, a man. You know, that's who you want to be running the country. Somebody that deals with situations like that, like how he did. So, just going by that, I could understand theories that say it was staged to make him look like that. I'm not saying I agree with it. In fact, I'm saying the opposite. I don't agree with it. But I can understand it, and I think it's plausible. But I also believe for me, it's disrespectful to believe that. And I'll say why. Because of the death of the firefighter, the father that I believe, I forget how many kids he had, but I just know he had kids, and he had a wife that he was there with at the speech, and I believe he was covering them, he was shielding them, and he died. So for me to say Trump staged this, I just think it's very hard to argue that for me. I maybe contradict myself because I'm saying I can understand it, and I can understand. I can understand why people think that, but for me it is disrespectful because that man lost his life. So how does that work? You know, is that just part of it that Trump didn't anticipate? That wasn't meant to happen? I don't know, because, you know, like, if this was staged, you'd think, well, number one, you would think that there wouldn't be actual real bullets used in it. Clearly there was, because this man lost his life, who had kids and a wife. So I don't believe that theory. Again, I can see why people believe it, but me personally, I don't believe that one. And yeah, those are my reasons why. You know, I just think if you're going to do that, you're not going to use real bullets. This man that lost his life, I mean, how does that work? Does Trump just think, oh, I don't care? It's just this is going to make me look good, and probably win me the election. So if anyone gets killed during this, so be it. I don't believe that. I don't believe Trump is that bad of a man. Yeah, I don't believe that theory. Now, the second theory, that being that the government deliberately ignored Crooks, which is the surname of the shooter, by the way. Yeah, that they deliberately ignored Crooks because they want Trump dead. Okay, so let's look at that. So, again, that's not what I believe happened here, but it's plausible, and I can understand some of the reasons why people think that. So let's get into that, right? So apparently the shooter, on the day of the shooting, bought 50 rounds of ammunition. 50 rounds of ammunition on that day. Now again, I said apparently. I have to say that because I don't know for sure if that is a fact, but I've read it and I've heard it from numerous different sources. And that doesn't mean it's true, of course, but I'm just saying that's why I'm bringing it up, because it's something that I've heard. So let's just say that is true. Where the shooter bought this ammunition, I don't know, but I've got to assume it was nearby in the same state that the speech was. So even if you don't believe this theory, right, that the government allowed this to happen because they want him dead, understand that should raise alarm bells. A young man going in to a shop, I don't know how that works. In Scotland, you can't just buy guns. I know people that have got guns, they've got firearms licenses for shooting. Well, obviously for shooting, but what I mean is like rabbit hunting and stuff like that. Like there's a thing, there's shooting ranges for stuff. I don't know much about it, but it's very difficult to get a gun, is what I'm saying. I mean, it sounds like this guy's just went into a shop, got 50 rounds of ammo, and no flags have been raised. Well, it doesn't sound like that's what happened. That is what happened. So I can understand, just based on that alone, why some people would think the government allowed that. Because surely if you're a shop owner and somebody's buying Well, that amount of ammo for a start. But second of all, on the day of this speech, this rally, like, surely the shop owner's got to be thinking, what's going on here? That's a bit unusual. And has to raise that to authorities. Maybe he did. And the authorities have just ignored it. I don't know. I really don't know, but I find that very strange that that's been allowed to happen. If it has been. But that's certainly, that rumour is circulating. So if it's true, I can understand that theory. Another point on that theory is, how did the shooter even get this opportunity? The opportunity to take shots at the president, at Donald Trump. To get on the roof without anyone noticing. Did anyone notice? And they just didn't do anything? Because I know, right, the Queen is, obviously she's passed away now, but I know whenever she came to any area in the UK, the security around her was insane. She would travel as well in that wee chariot that was bulletproof. Security all around her, security checks done everywhere, in buildings, nearby buildings, before she even got there. Now, this might be debatable, I don't know, but certainly in Scotland, it's always been understood that the CIA, the FBI, the Secret Service, now, excuse my ignorance, I don't know if that's all the same company, or the same team, for lack of a better phrase. But what I do know is they've always been regarded as the creme de la creme of security. The top guys. The security team around the president, always. So I find it hard to believe that this shooter, Crooks, is on a nearby roof in a position to take aim at Donald Trump and they've not known about it. I do find that hard to believe. So I can understand that theory again. How can you not understand it? Even if you don't agree with it, you've got to understand this is the CIA. Like I said, the creme de la creme, the top guys and women. And they've let this young, what is he, 20 years old? They've let this boy get in a position where they can take aim at the president, where he can take aim at the president, rather. That's insane to me. Crazy. Now, I've also heard that Trump's security team had the shooter in their sights for 3 minutes, but they were told not to engage. Now again, and I need to say it, that's just apparently, that's just a rumour. I don't know if that's true, but assuming it is true, why? And by who? I mean, I would have thought Trump's security team are the final decision makers. They make the final call. So if that's true, who's telling them not to engage? I don't get that. And yeah, like it says, and why? I mean, it just boggles my brain. Like, I am not in any way, shape or form a security agent. Or involved in that world in any way, shape or form. But I know if I was at a speech like this and I seen a guy on a roof with a gun, sniper, I mean, I need to say no more. You would know this guy's trying to shoot the president. And apparently the guy was in clear vision, clear eyesight of everyone. So how can they not? How can they see this and not do anything about it? I do understand maybe like not shooting them straight away and killing them. I mean, you're talking about killing someone if you know, you get a lot of crazy people out there, a lot of mentally unstable people out there. You could maybe argue and say, well, it could have been a hoax. This young guy was just trying to get attention, because from a distance you don't know if that's a real gun, and you know it might sound silly to some people, but you need to remember when you're talking about taking someone's life without knowing 100% what they're doing there. You know, it's a big thing to do. So I get that, but in those 3 minutes, man, you're not telling me you can't go over there and check on the guy and go and see what's going on. So I find that very interesting. I find that very interesting. Now, like I said, those are there might be other theories, by the way, but those are the theories that I've read about and seen. And a lot of people believe them. I've said what I believe, and that's that it was just quite simply an assassination attempt with a lot of flaws in it with the security. Yeah, I do believe that. And just a few general points I wanted to mention. Then it might just be my opinion. Maybe no one agrees with me, but no one seems to be talking about the shooter. This Thomas Crooks. I mean, I've heard a few. Obviously, I don't mean literally. Obviously, people are speaking about him, but like, I don't want to start talking about different shootings, assassination attempts, high school shootings and stuff. I don't want to talk about that really, but I do also want to make the point that those shooters certainly get spoken about a lot more. You know, there's documentaries made on them. There's so many interviews with their friends, families, colleagues. I don't see that with this guy. I've seen a few, but nothing major. But maybe, listen, maybe that's a new thing, because I do know that it was spoken about before, that that they're in some places anyway, they don't want to speak about the shooter because they think that's what they want. They want the fame and the glory from doing what they've done. Not the glory, you know what I mean, but getting spoke about and being made worldwide known. Fame that way. So maybe that's why. Or maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I've just not seen these interviews and these comments and what have you with his friends, families, colleagues, etc. I'm just saying I've not seen much on the guy. I don't know much about him, and it just seems to be kind of kept quiet, I feel. Just my opinion. And getting back to what I said before about the CIA, FBI, Secret Service. Again, forgive my ignorance if they're all separate forces, but I've always known them to be the same. Regardless, you know who I'm talking about, the President's security team. I've always known them to be regarded as the top guys, and women. You know, I'm not trying to be sexist, but the top of the tree. Like, you cannot get any higher than this for security. That did not look like the case when I seen the video. They were all over the place. You know, I mean, they acted quick and shielding Trump. Well, I thought they did. Some people actually think they didn't, but I thought they did that quick that way. But you know, I think we've all seen the footage. There's two female agents that just look all over the place. And it's understandable. Listen, don't get me wrong, I'm not, obviously their adrenaline's going to be high. I get that. But you also need to remember this is meant to be the top guys. The top team. They're meant to handle these situations a lot better than what they did. They just looked like amateurs. They just looked out of their depth. I'm hearing as well, one of the female agents is apparently 18 inches too short to be an effective shield for the president. And the other female agent who is overweight and unable to holster her weapon properly. I'm sure we've all seen the footage. That's unacceptable. I'm sorry. That just should not be happening. It looked, like I said, they looked all over the place. And you can't take any chances. Now, I know I'm just an average Joe guy giving his opinion. It's easy for me to say that to the CIA. It's ridiculous, actually, but for real though, I mean, that should not be happening. I'm not saying they shouldn't be there. Maybe they just had an off day, but you can't have off days when you're in that job. It just, certainly not that bad. It looked like a horror show. So that should not be happening. Another point I wanted to make was, and I touched up on it before, is how this Matthew Crooks, the shooter, how he's even not only got into the position of getting on the roof, but that is strange on its own. But, I mean, no security checks done of the area. I mean, how did he get on the roof? Did he use ladders? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know it may sound silly to some people, but these are things that no one's really talking about. There's maybe a reason. Maybe it's me that's thinking too much about it, but if you're doing security checks in the area, surely you're going to see a set of ladders, or even, just how did he get up there, is what I'm saying. Did he go inside the building, up the stairs? I don't know, so I guess to be fair, I am speculating a bit, but I just cannot get my head around how he's up in that area in the first place, and how the security team have missed that. Now, I know if there was a presidential speech organised in my city, which would never happen because there is no president here, but for argument's sake, let's say there was, that would be huge. Massive. People would be everywhere. I mean, you would see suspicious behaviour with all those people, all those eyes. The guy, the shooter, on his way to the roof, presumably he's carrying his ammo, his gun, etc. Has nobody seen that? Has nobody seen him walking down the street? Did he drive? I don't know. But, I mean, these are all things that, if he did walk there, surely somebody's seen him. I mean, and even if he did drive there, how's he going to drive there, get into this building, up the stairs, his gun and ammo, and nobody's seen him? There's just so many unanswered questions that I just cannot get my head around. It's very bizarre. But I do believe it was an assassination attempt where the security of Trump just messed up in so many ways. They just overlooked the shooter, obviously. But I'm just saying, I can believe I can see how some people believe the other conspiracy theories. Regardless, it's a very interesting situation, and I would like to hear other people's opinions, so pardon me. So yeah, let's do that.